If you freelance for a living or you're thinking about starting, this video is for you. Freelancing is great. You pick your clients, you set your hours, you do work you actually care about. But nobody warns you about the business side. The emails, the proposals, the invoices, the follow-ups, it never stops. Almost half of all freelancers lose about 6 hours every week to admin tasks that pay them nothing. 6 hours! That's almost a full day working every week just gone. So today I'm going to help you build a system that takes most of that off your plate. 6 simple agents, each one handling a different part of your business automatically, and I will show you how to set each one up and exactly what it does. Follow along and you'll have the whole thing running by the time we are done. Let's get started. Before we start building anything, I want to show you the whole system first, so you know exactly where we're going. Think of it like this. Imagine you could hire an assistant whose only job is to handle the business side of your freelance career. They manage your inbox, research your clients, write your proposals, keep track of your projects, update your portfolio, and make sure you actually get paid. And they do all of it without you having to ask because you set it up once. And it just runs. That's what we're building today. 6 assistants, each one trained to handle one specific part of your business. And here's what each one does. The first one is called Inbox Scout. It watches your email around the clock. Whenever a new client inquiry comes in, it logs it, sets a follow-up reminder, and sends the client a quick reply right away. No lead ever gets missed, even when you're deep in the project or it's 2 in the morning. The second one is called Client Researcher. Before you pitch to a new client, this one does all the homework for you. It reads their website, looks up their company, finds out what the going rate is for the kind of work they need, and puts everything into one document so you walk into every conversation prepared. The third one is called Proposal Builder. Once the research is done, this one writes the full proposal for you. A professional document with a cover image and a full pitch, pricing, and timeline. Then it drafts the email to send it to the client. Next one is called Project Pulse. Every Monday morning, it checks all your active projects and posts a clean summary to where everything stands. What's on track, what's falling behind, what needs your attention this week. The fifth one is called Portfolio Publisher. When a project wraps up, this one turns the finished work into portfolio content. A thumbnail, a short video clip, a YouTube description, a case study. Your portfolio stays current without you having to carve out extra time for it. And the last one is called Invoice Chaser. Every Friday, it checks who hasn't paid you yet and sends them a polite follow-up. It also runs a quick report on how your portfolio website is performing, so you know if people are actually finding you. These agents connect to each other too. The lead that Inbox Scout catches becomes the brief that Client Researcher builds. The brief becomes the proposal that Proposal Builder writes. They feed into each other, so the more you use them, the more the whole system works together. Now let's set it all up. The very first thing we need to do is to connect the tools you already use. So first, we want to log into Creao, and that's create a new workspace and name it something like My Freelance Business, and this will be your home base. Everything you build today will live here. Now, click on Agent Brain in the sidebar and click Connectors. This is where you link all your existing apps so your agents can actually talk to them. Things like Gmail, Google Sheets, Google Calendar, Google Drive, Discord, and more. For each one, just click Connect and follow the steps to sign in. You do this once and every agent you build can use them from that point on. And here's the full list we'll be using throughout this video. Gmail, Outlook, Google Sheets, Google Calendar, Google Tasks, Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Discord, Microsoft Teams, YouTube, and GitHub if you're a developer. You don't need to connect all of them. We'll pull in each one as we get to the agent that needs it. Once you are connected to the basics, let's build the first one. This is Inbox Scout, and it handles something that costs freelancers real money every single week. Picture this. A potential client emails you on a Tuesday night asking about your rates. You see it on Wednesday morning, but you get pulled into something else. And by Thursday, you still haven't replied. So They probably hired someone else. This happens almost to every freelancer at some point. And it is not because you're disorganized, it's just because one person can't do everything at once. Inbox Scout makes sure no leads slip through like that again. It watches your email around the clock, and the moment a new inquiry comes in, it logs it, sets a reminder, adds a task to your to-do list, and sends the client a quick reply, even when you're sleeping. So let's build it. Inside your workspace, you will see a main chat, and in the chat, let's type in something in plain English describing what you want this agent to do. For here, I will say, every day, scan my Gmail and Outlook for emails that look like client inquiries. When you find one, add a row to Google Sheet called Lead Tracker with the person's name, email, and what they ask about. Create a Google Calendar reminder to follow up within 2 days and add a Google task with their name. Then send them a short reply from my Gmail letting them know I got their message and will be in touch soon. Before you save, one quick sidestep. Open Google Sheets in a new tab and create a blank sheet called Lead Tracker. This is just a simple table where each lead gets its own row. Come back to Creao and let the agent know that that's the sheet name. Then we can schedule it and set it to run every morning. We can click Run Now to test it. If there are any inquiry emails already sitting in your inbox, it'll catch them and log them right away. Go check your Lead Tracker, the Google Sheet that we just created. You'll see rows starting to fill in with names, emails, and a short summary of what each person asked. Your calendar will have follow-up reminders, and those clients already have a reply from you. All of that happened while you were doing something else. That's the Inbox Scout. Now that it's catching your leads, the next step is knowing what to do when one looks promising. You want to walk into the conversation prepared, and that's exactly what the second agent handles. Let's say you've got a lead that looks serious. Before you hop on a call or start writing a proposal, you need to know who they are, what their company does, and what you should even charge for the kind of work they need. Most freelancers either spend an hour Googling all of this, or they just wing it, and neither is great. So Client Researcher does that hour of homework in a couple of minutes. You give it 3 things: client's name, website, and a quick voice note from after you call with them. It transcribes the recording, reads through the website, researches the company, look up the going market rate for the type of project, and puts it into a Google Doc. A voice note is just a very short audio recording on your phone. Right after you hung up the phone with the client, you can just hit record and say whatever you remember during the phone call. Something like, they need a 60-second brand video, minimal style, fixable budget, want to start in 2 weeks. 30 seconds is all it needs. And that's build it. So go back to the workspace and to the chat. We can name the agent Client Researcher, and this one will run on demand, meaning you trigger it when you are ready rather than on schedule. And you set up 3 input fields so that it knows what to ask you next time. And in the chat, I will type, when I give you a client's name, website, and voice note, transcribe the recording, read through their websites, research the company, look up what freelancers typically charge for the type of project they described, and put everything into a Google Doc saved in a folder called Client Briefs in my Google Drive. Organize it into 4 sections: who they are, what they need, market rate, and notes from my call. Before you run it, go into Google Drive and create a folder called Client Briefs. That's where every brief will land, 1 document per client and always in the same place. To test it, pick any company and record a short voice note about what you'd pitch them and run the agent. Watch the Google Doc appear in your Client Briefs folder. Open it and you'll see the company background, a summary of what they need and what the going rate looks like, and a clean written version of your call notes. Everything you need without spending hours on it. Now that you have all that research sitting in a document, you're ready to turn it into a proposal, which is exactly what we're building next. Writing a proposal from scratch takes 2 to 3 hours every single time. You have to describe the work, set the timelines, state the price, explain what's included, and make it all look professional. Proposal Builder does all of that in a few minutes, using the brief that Client Researcher just built for you. You give it 3 things: the client's name, their email, and your rate for the project. It finds the brief, writes the full proposal, generates a cover image that fits their industry, and creates an audio version so that you can listen through it. Then it saves everything to your Google Drive and draft the email to the client ready for you to review. That sounds good. Let's go ahead and type in the chat box. When I give you you a client's name, email, and my rate. Find their brief in my Google Drive folder called Client Briefs. Write a full proposal in a new Google Doc with an intro, what I'll deliver, a timeline, pricing, and a closing. Generate a cover image that matches their industry. Create an audio version so I can review it. Save everything in a folder called Proposals in my Google Drive. Then draft an email to the client with the proposals attached. One thing worth saying clearly here, the agent drafts the email, but it does not send it without you. You review the proposal, listen to the audio version if you want, and make changes. Then you decide if you want to send it. You stay in control of what goes to client. So now we want to go create the proposals folder in Google Drive, then test it with a real client. You'll see the proposal document, the cover image, and the audio file all appear within a couple of minutes. Open the proposal. You'll be specific to that, structured, and about 90% of the way there. You will handle the rest of the 10%. So now your leads are being caught, you're going into pitches prepared, the proposals are also going out fast. Once the work starts though, you need a way to stay on top of everything at once, and that's what we're going to build next. When you're juggling a few projects at the same time, things fall through the crack. A deadline sneaks up, a project stalls because you forgot to follow up on feedback. You get to Monday and you're not entirely sure where anything stands. Project Pulse solves that. Every Monday morning, it checks your project spreadsheet, your calendar, your task list, then posts a clean summary to your Discord before you even sit down at your desk. Discord is a free app you can set up as your own private dashboard. You don't need to use it with anyone else. It's just a clean place to receive your weekly briefings. But I just want to make a note that I am demonstrating this because I would like to show you what Creao is capable of, but you absolutely don't need to do this extra step. You can just see the updates in your feed. If you go to the navigation bar on the left, you will see feed. And if you click that, you will see all the updates that all your agents have been working on. So with that being said, let's build the agent called Project Pulse. Before you configure it, let's create a Google Sheet called Project Tracker with columns for client name, project name, status, and due date. Fill in your current active projects as well. Then open Discord, create a private server for yourself, and add a channel called Weekly Pulse. That's where your Monday briefings will land. And let's head back to Creao, and I'll type in the chat. Every Monday at 8 a.m., read my Google Sheet called Project Tracker. Check my Google Calendar for deadlines this week, and check my Google Tasks for anything overdue. Post a short, easy to read summary to my Discord Weekly Pulse channel showing what's on track, what's overdue, and my top priorities for this week. And we want to set the schedule to every Monday at 8 a.m. You can run a test and check Discord, and your weekly briefing should be sitting there already formatted before you open a single email. Now you're keeping up with your current work, but there's one part of the freelance picture that most people let slide, which is making sure the work you finish actually gets seen. After you wrap up a project, updating your portfolio is usually the last thing on your mind. You're tired, you're on to the next thing, and it just doesn't happen. So your best work sits unseen, and potential clients never know you did it. Portfolio Publisher closes that gap. When you finish a project, you fill in one short form, and the agent does the rest. It creates a portfolio thumbnail, makes a short video clip, and writes a YouTube description, saves everything to your Google Drive, and then post a case study to your Discord. And if that sounds good, let's build it. We can name it Portfolio Publisher. For the fields that we need project name, client name, what you did, and the result, and the file location as a link to where your final files live, and the style and the mood, something like clean and minimal or bold and high energy, so the agent knows how the visuals should feel. And to the agent, you can say, when I fill out the form, grab the files from the location I provide, generate a portfolio thumbnail based on the style I describe, create a short 6 to 8 second video clip of the project, write a YouTube description, save everything to a folder called Portfolio in my Google Drive, and post a short case study to my Discord channel called Portfolio Showcase. And the next thing you want to do is create the portfolio folder in Google Drive and a Portfolio Showcase channel in your Discord. Test it with a project you recently finished and fill the form and run it. A thumbnail, a video clip, a YouTube description, and a case study post will all come back. One form, 5 outputs every single time. There's one more agent to build, and this one handles the part of freelancing that most people find genuinely uncomfortable. 72% of freelancers have been ghosted by a client around an invoice. The work is done, the invoice is out, and then silence. You feel awkward following up because you don't want to seem pushy. So weeks pass and money you already earned just doesn't show up. So let's create an invoice tracer that follows up for you every single Friday, professionally and without any of the awkwardness. It also pulls a quick snapshot of how your portfolio website is performing, so you always know whether people are finding you. Let's head back to the chat in your workspace, name it Invoice Chaser. And before you configure it, create a Google Sheet called Invoice Tracker with columns for client name, invoice number, amount, due date, and status. Mark any unpaid invoices with the word unpaid. In the chat, I will say every Friday at 4 p.m., check my Google Sheet called Invoice Tracker. For any invoice that's marked unpaid and past its due date, send a polite follow-up email from my Gmail. Keep it warm and short. Then update the spreadsheet to note that a follow-up was sent. After that, pull a quick performance summary from Google Analytics and Google Search Console about my portfolio website this week and post it to my Microsoft Teams channel. Set the schedule to every Friday 4 p.m. and then we can do a test run. We can add a test invoice with a past due date marked unpaid and hit run. Check your Google Sent folder and check your spreadsheet. Also check your Teams channel. When everything looks right, you're done. From here on, every Friday at 4 p.m., this runs on its own. Late clients hear from you. You get a read on your website, and you didn't have to do either one yourself. And that's it. That's all 6 agents built. But before we wrap up, a few quick things that will help you get even more out of this video. Tip 1 is if you're not sure how to adapt this to your specific type of work, just ask. Inside Creao, there's a super agent, which is basically a smart assistant you can have a conversation with. Describe what you do in plain language. For example, something like, I'm a freelance photographer who shoots weddings and sends galleries to clients. It will look at your workflow and tell you exactly which agents make the most sense for you. You don't have to figure it out alone. Second is what I showed you today is just one example. The system was built around a freelance designer, but the same agents work for writers, developers, photographers, consultants, anyone. And you can skip the ones you don't need. Adjust any of them to fit how you actually work or build entirely new ones. Nothing is locked in. The third thing is you don't have to build all 6 today. Start with one that solves your biggest problem right now. If you're losing leads, build an inbox scout first. If proposals are eating up your time, start with proposal builder. Get one running and add the next one when you're ready. The system grows with you. And that's it. 6 agents all running in the background, handling the parts of your business that used to eat your time. Let's go back to that 6 hours a week number. Over a full year, that's more than 300 hours back in your pocket. Use them on the work you love, on better clients, or honestly, just on having your evenings back. That's what this is for. If you have questions while you're building yours, drop them in the comments. And if you want help figuring out what the right setup looks like for your work, open the super agent in Creao. Describe what you do and let it help you from there. I understand this video is long, and thank you very much for bearing with me and finishing up. Fantastic work, and thank you very much for watching. If you find this walkthrough helpful, please give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.